Hello and welcome to another session where I want us to see about international trade. And when we talk about international trade, this is the exchange of goods and the services between countries. So trade, as you know, is the exchange of goods for money. And initially, we had what we call the barter trade. And the barter trade is where they used to exchange goods without money because there was no introduction of money in those times. So they used to exchange those goods with other goods. So it doesn't matter with which good you wanted, because everyone was in the market, was involved in the market, and you only came to get what you wanted. And then the person, like, you can exchange a cow with maize or whichever thing you wanted during those times. So after the introduction of money, or after money came into the picture, now they started with the commerce. Now with the commerce, there was introduction of trade, which was involving money. So trade, when it comes to international trade, again, it is divided into two. We have first the export, and we have the import. So the export is now what a country sells to another country, and the import is now what that country gets from other countries. So we also have the types of foreign trade. When we have the two of them, we have the bilateral trade and we have the multilateral trade. Bilateral trade, when it comes to it, is when a country is trading between another country. That is, two countries are involved in the trade. But when it comes to multilateral, is when now many countries are trading together. So we have also the problems or the barriers which came into being as a result of this international trade. One, for example, it is not easy to get a potential buyer when it comes to international trade, because the person you are trading with, for instance, is a person whom you don't know. So you will not be able to know clearly whether you are going to get a person to buy your goods or not. And then we have the advertisers who needs to find the proper medium in order to have the sale promotion, because you cannot just import goods from another country and everyone is aware of your import. So you have to get a media which has to advertise about your goods, so that now the people in the market, or the consumers and your clients, will be able to know what you have in the market, so that they can come and buy the same. We have also unfavorable government policies, or what we call the government restrictions. So government have their regulations for the people who intend to go along with this trade. So you have first to go in terms with what the government wants you to do in order for you to proceed with your selling. So also different countries may also use different units of measurement, which of course may differ from what you use in your own country. And also there will be a need to communicate to the person you are going to trade with, and sometimes you are not even aware of their language. So you must get a person who understands the foreign language, so that they will be able to translate to you what the trader wants. So those are some of the problems which we face in international trade. We have also advantages of having the international trade. One, we have a nation will be able to obtain what they cannot produce locally, because for example, in our country we don't have a company which makes cars, so we can be able to get cars from Japan, and they also will be able to get like tea, coffee, flowers from our country. It also brings about friendliness between these two trading countries, because there is no way they will be able to trade together when they are not in good terms with each other. Again, sometimes a country may also obtain goods cheaply than when they decide to just like produce the goods themselves, so that they can again trade the same goods. Also, it helps a country specialize in the production of goods, because once the country gets goods from another country, mostly they are usually encouraged also to get in that line of business, like to know how to produce these goods, so that sometimes also they might also engage in the same and produce the same goods which they use to import. So they'll be able to get knowledge about how these goods are produced by the end of the day. We have also the better standards of living, because the import and export usually create employment, like in the packaging area, because we have also the packaging area for import trade and export trade. So when these people are in the site packing, remember they are employed to be in that area. Also the loading and the offloading, people are also employed to be in those areas. We have also, in case of also emergency like natural disaster, political instability, our country will be able to get what they are missing or what they have inadequate from their part. It also boosts development through the imported capital goods. Remember, when the goods are imported, most of people usually prefer to buy the imported goods than the locally or domestically produced goods. We have also disadvantages of international trade. One, we have it threatens local industries, and like I said earlier, most of people usually prefer getting these imported goods than getting the locally produced goods. And this one, it becomes a threat to the infant industries in the country who actually produce the same goods, or who deal in the same line of these goods. Unwanted and harmful goods may also be important, like guns and abusive drugs like cocaine, heroin, and such. We have supply of imports sometimes is not guaranteed during emergency period, because sometimes also that country may also be experiencing maybe shortage of the same product which another country needs. Prices also sometimes may fluctuate, and when prices fluctuate, demand arises. So we have, in this case, we usually experience we don't have enough goods to be bought, but we have money, which these, like when we have shortage of goods, we usually have money in supply of or money for the market, but what we have is the shortage of these goods, so we cannot always rely on these. If a country also depends much on import, it cannot be motivated to like have their own industries and produce these products locally. Sometimes when this is experienced so much, and a cry from the industries, from the domestic industries now reaches to the government most of the time decides to do something in order to make sure that these local industries actually are now beginning to sell their goods. Like when we started importing much of the shoes from outside, we ended up killing slowly our butter industry shops. So in this way, when a government feels like now the imports are coming to be like a threat to them, they usually find a way in order to remedy this. So one of the ways in which this government uses what we call in one term we usually all call all these methods government restrictions. So how can a government restrict import trade? One, we have the quota system, where the government fixes a certain amount of goods to be imported in a certain period of time. So the people who are involved in the import of goods, they are given a certain amount or a certain limit of what they have to import from these countries and bring to our country. Then we have the total ban, or what we call the embargo, and in this case is whereby the situation is out of hand, so the government usually accepts no import from any country. So we have the licenses also, whereby you cannot be able to import when you don't have the license. And then we have the trade agreement, the exchange control, and also what we call the subsidizing of local industries. Thank you for your time. Make sure you follow up the content, follow up the audios and also the videos. So we shall also continue from there to finish up on international trade. Thank you for your time.